And there are those that feel you are an Uhuru Kenyatta project.
Let me ask you, Sam. You are an intelligent person, very well educated and experienced person. What does that actually mean in practical sense? There are many things that are bandied around. When I was younger, a little more impatient, I used to tell people, there are things that people tell you that when you sit back and analyze them, they wouldn't make sense even to a fool. What does that mean to be someone's project? What does that mean? It's an indelible historical fact that Uhuru Kenyatta appointed me to his cabinet, and I served in his cabinet for 10 years in 3 significant portfolios.
Sam Gituku was born on 14th August 1989. He grows from a family that valued public service. His father, Ngari Gituku, once served as a private secretary to President Mwai Kibaki. Growing up in central Kenya and belonging to the Kikuyu community, Sam was exposed early to conversations about leadership, public affairs, and national issues. As a youngster, he was curious about stories, what made people act, what made governments change, what made news matter. He had an ear for conversation, a mind for questioning. In a household where service mattered, he wondered, could I help tell the story of Kenya? Could I be the one who asks hard questions? Sam's academic path reflects his ambition. He attended local schools for his primary and secondary education and went on to study at Moi University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science in Information Science. He did not stop there. He pursued further studies at the University of Nairobi, obtaining a master's degree in Communication Studies. In addition, he became a certified public accountant and later did an executive master's in media leadership and innovation at the Aga Khan University. These credentials show more than just study. They show a mind prepared to handle data, to unpack numbers, and to question systems, as well as to drive change. Many journalists focus on stories. Some also focused on facts, on figures, on understanding the system. From budgeting to policy politics, he aimed to bring clarity. In 2012, Sam Gituku began his journalism career. He joined Radio Citizen under the Royal Media Services umbrella as a radio correspondent in Machakos County. At the time, he was not yet a media star. He was learning the craft, meeting people going into the field, writing, reporting. He learned early that journalism is not easy. Long hours, tough questions, pressure, deadlines, and sometimes danger. His personality stood out, calm, articulate, confident. He moved from radio to television. He joined Citizen TV Kenya, one of the country's leading broadcasters, and began hosting leading shows. Over the years, Sam Gituku carved a niche for himself in political and public affairs journalism. He became known for his incisive interviews with elected officials, cabinet secretaries, and public figures. For example, he covered Kenya's general election in 2017, the Garissa University terror attack, and other major national events. His ability to break complex topics, budgets, governance, numbers into understandable segments made him popular. He has also hosted key flagship discussions and shows at Citizen TV. In 2024, after completing his master's program at Aga Khan University, he was promoted at Citizen TV to the position of editor, quality and product development. Sam's style is marked by calm authority, data-driven analysis, and willingness to hold power to account. He blends storytelling with numbers. He asks, what does this mean for you and me? He doesn't just ask politicians what they did. He asks the audience, how will this affect your life? He is also known for his professionalism and ethics. Journalism in Kenya can be chaotic. Partisan pressures, social media storms, fake news. Sam studied and prepared so he could deal with this. His additional qualifications, CPA and masters, are part of that preparation. Sam Gituku is known to keep his private life relatively low profile. What is public is that in 2019, he married his wife Ivy Wetherero in a wedding held at Deliverance Church in Karen.
Exchanged vows with the love of his life, Ivy Waiterero, who is also a news director at Citizen TV. The two exchanged vows at Deliverance Church, Langata, at a colorful ceremony attended by family and friends. The two later treated their guests to a reception party at Nairobi Academy in Karen. Take a look.
And you and I
Thank you, Sam Gituku.
to be my legally wedded husband
To be my legally wedded husband.
I give you this ring
as a statement
as a statement
that I have chosen you
that I have chosen you
to be my wife.
to be my wife.
The ceremony was attended by family, friends, and well-wishers and marked a new chapter in his personal life. Sam and Ivy have maintained a married life away from constant media glare. He seldom shares his family in the headlines, preferring to separate his professional duties from private life. This deliberate balance shows maturity. He seems to value stability, privacy, and the focus needed for his work. Sam's journey was not without obstacles. Moving from radio to TV meant learning new skills. Working in political journalism meant he had to ask tough questions and sometimes face pushback from guests. Journalism in Kenya is competitive and can be risky. Sam also had to combine his work with his studies, juggling a master's, an executive program, and his job. Social media added another level of challenge. When you are visible, you are vulnerable to criticism, rumors, and attacks. Sam had to maintain his credibility. His training helped. His education helped. His values helped. Today, Sam Gituku is a role model to young journalists in Kenya. His path shows that if you combine education, work ethic, values, and discipline, you can rise in a tough industry. He has shown that journalism is not just about being loud. It's about being accurate, being trusted, and being consistent. He influences how news in Kenya is consumed. More data, more clarity, more context. He also inspires others outside journalism. Young Kenyans who see a professional field with integrity, who studied in Kenya, achieved big things, and continues to serve. While Sam has already achieved much, he is now standing still. His promotion at Citizen TV shows he is moving into leadership, shaping how news is produced, improving quality, and innovating. He may one day take on even more responsibility, perhaps leading training for younger journalists or shaping a newsroom strategy. He may also influence beyond journalism, perhaps mentoring youth, advising media policy, or contributing to journalism education. His training, his track record, and his personality position him to be more than a news anchor, perhaps a media leader for Kenya's next generation. Sam Gituku's story reminds us that behind the familiar face on screen is a person who studied hard, asked tough questions, and made sacrifices and stayed true to his values. He reminds us that journalism can serve democracy, can serve truth, and can help people understand their world better. In a country where news moves fast, where social media shouts louder than facts, Sam stands for something: thoughtful, decent, informed journalism. And for young people watching, his life tells you you can begin in a small town, use your mind, ask your questions, study, work hard, and make an impact.